So this is what I'm making. It's a label for my wife's roses. She has quite a number of roses, and she wants to put their name on them. So this is just whacked into a little bit of aluminium, which is a recycled Pepsi can. So just open up the Pepsi can, and this is really quite good. It's very thin and very sharp. If you rub your finger on this the wrong way, you will cut yourself. And it's quite brittle. Very easy to knock a hole right through this with the punch. We're going to clamp that down under a piece of wood. Now this wood has marks on it, and that corresponds with the width of each punch. You could make them narrower. The gap between each letter is quite large. You can see on here. Makes it easier to read, but it's also spaced out a bit, so you use up a bit more of your aluminium. But that's how I like it. And each one of these corresponds to one of these slots here. That gets clamped on your aluminium so that it keeps it level this way and also spaces it out quite well as you're doing these names. These are the punches I'm using. They're 6mm and they're made by a company called Berent, B-E-R-E-N-T, and they're 6mm 1/4 inch. I got them online, a little bit more expensive than some of them you see online, but these are much clearer in the way that they're produced. I think they'll last a long time. They're supposed to be ball bearing steel. I don't know what that means, but they certainly look better than some of the others online, and they were around about twice the price, but I think they're probably worth it. I've used them on wood and aluminium and they seem to be going quite well. Haven't needed to use them on steel yet. The set also came with numeric stamps 0 to 9. I clamped this down with a couple of wood clamps. Underneath this I've got a piece of chipboard which is hard enough that it doesn't get damaged, but soft enough for us to print into the aluminium quite easily. So underneath this I've just got a hobby anvil just for a bit of weight so that it doesn't bounce too much. So I've clamped that to the anvil just to stop it moving around, and that wood will stop this moving. I also like to line up one of these lines with the edge, such that if I'm doing two rows, if I've got a large name like Spirit of Peace, I can do one row, move that up, and it's still lined up with the edge, and do another row. So I pop a hole in these just to tie onto the rose bush. We usually do that with a bit of soft wire, like a bread tie or something like that, the old-fashioned bread tie. If you need to poke a hole in them, you can just do it with a hole punch. Goes straight through. Paper punch. After I've finished them, I like to give them a little bit of a roll. I use a Sharpie, but you can use anything that just gives it that, what would it be, 12mm, maybe more. And that just stiffens it up. Otherwise they're a little bit floppy. This one's all twisted, but if you give it a roll around something, it will, in my opinion, look better and sit better.